In today's podcast, we have a very special guest, Lindy from China Direct Sourcing. Lindy and I have been chatting a few times before today's podcast, and I believe she offers a very unique solution that a lot of builders that I'm talking to feel like a big frustration when it comes to getting into the development market is how do we make the numbers make sense? And recently, Lindy reached out and we've been chatting, and I've been amazed at the solution, the very unique solution that she offers to a pain point a lot of builders are having when it comes to getting their own developments, making the numbers make sense, and also a solution to client work that is going to allow you to get those projects over the line. So again, please sit back, enjoy, get your notepad and pen out, pay attention, and please stay tuned right to the end where we talk about an upcoming event that you'll be able to attend to hear more information from Lindy and what all her and her team are doing for builders and developers across Australia. Thank you very much for making time for today.
Thank you, John. Thank you for inviting me.
Lindy, to kick things off, I want to ask you a very direct question, but it's one that's been playing back in my mind, and I know it's in the mind of many of our builders. But if I were to paint the scenario, I'll say to you, if I were to, and we were just in a room with a whole bunch of builders this last week, but let's say I say to the room of builders, importing from China. Their initial thoughts are risk, cheap, complicated. Why do you think that is still the perception today?
Well, absolutely. You see, China has been progressed very well. And if you look at it, all the construction material where you buy locally, and if you go one deep further, you will find majority of those construction material are from China. And you are just paying the importer's margin, and you get that from locally. So that's number one. And number two, even like you see many good brand products or good like tier one builder, they have their own buyers, they have their own procurement department. They buy all the construction material from China. So the single builders are not just facing the challenges, but also they cannot compete with the bigger player. So, and the second is that China has been the hub for manufacturing, hub for the world for last 30 odd years. The quality has dramatically improved. It's far more beyond what you can think. And then for the complication, yes, importing from China, because you buy from overseas, there are many risks. But what we are here is to helping you to use systemization methodology to minimize the risk. It's a controlled risk compared to minimize the risk, controlled risk versus the gain you are going to get, the savings you are going to get. It's a great investment.
And I know I've had my eyes open just chatting to you in terms of the just all the legwork at the back end that you and your team put in to allow builders and developers to have confidence when it comes to working with you. But maybe if we go into your backstory, I mean, if not sure if you had a chance to listen to many of our episodes, but we're massive on the story, and everyone we believe has a unique story, and so I want to kind of dive into that. How did Lindy get into this line of work in this arena? What were you doing beforehand? I mean, how long have you been doing this now?
Well, I've been running China Direct Sourcing since the year 2005. So right now it's already 21 years.
Okay.
Before I started the China Direct Sourcing, I used to work in China in a construction site.
Ah, right.
And I did work for CSR Ready Mix.
Okay.
And that is, delivering the concrete to all the construction site. And I did the operation, and I managed the truck fleet of a 12 tank truck driver. Yes. And also I'm managing, I've been accredited department approving delivery the concrete to the bigger buildings.
Yeah.
And I also worked in a construction industry, and
Wow.
I've been managing all the subbies and dealing with with all the contracts and dealing with the Chinese like construction team
Wow.
and selecting and the negotiation the hard yard and
Okay.
control the budget. And we even had one desk on our construction site. And I'm the only Chinese who lead the negotiation with the Chinese team.
Yeah.
And because I was working for a construction company from Australia.
Mm.
So that is how I involved. And then when I came back to Australia,
Yeah.
I even delivered some training for Multiplex.
And so you mentioned you came back here and you also did some training with Multiplex. So you've definitely worked with some big players. And then where did, maybe the question should be, what problem did you see in the market or in the arena here that led you to think, oh, I'm gonna start China direct sourcing?
Well, literally, you see, there are many big players in the market. They already get the benefit from importing from China. You talk about the Myers, you talk about Harvey Norman,
Yeah.
you talk about Multiplex, you talk about the Lend-Lease, you talk about those tier one construction company. They have the power, capacity, resources, and they already have everything, and yet they still get more benefit than the single player. So what I saw is the opportunity for the smaller player, such as boutique builder,
Yeah.
boutique developer. If we can combine them together, if we develop the system which can benefit them, we consolidate the container, and they can still we call the group buying, direct buying, and from the Chinese factory, and with the group buying power and with our expertise. Each single project, we empower them, have that saving directly to their pocket. And also at the same time, because of the group buying power, we can help them to eliminate or minimize the risk they have, such as warranty, such as damage, such as the concern Australian safety.
It's interesting to hear you say those. You label those things because those are literally the top three that were coming up in my head and were coming up in the conversations since I've met you. I've been raising you in other conversations and mentioning you to builders and developers, and those are definitely the first thing. What about this? What about damage, or what if it's the wrong color, or it's the wrong? Which I know we'll jump in further, but it's interesting to hear that you definitely know your market and know the concerns. So, sorry, I cut you off there, Lindy.
That's okay. I think the best way is what we can do is number one is we believe in system. I use a systematic way to do things. Doesn't matter big job or small job. System produce results. That's number one. Number two is partnership, and use the system. And what we can do is we call the pre-trip arrangement. We vet the supplier. We already check them out, make sure they're meeting Australian standards, and then we call it during the trip. So during the trip, what we do, and then it's the after the trip, right? And then all the logistics, all the procurement. And then after that, there is one important part, is what we call after sales service.
Okay.
Because then when you receive the product, let's say when you receive the cabinet, how do you put them together? And who do you ask? If there is something damaged, who do we ask? If there is something lost, how do we deal with it? And the suppliers out in China, who can assist us?
Yeah.
So all of those concerns are valid. And that's why we developed a system and using past 20 years experience. And then to make sure, it protects maximum, our client interest. I'm happy to reveal that secret to give your audience walk through of how that look like. Yeah, would you like that?
Yeah. Okay.
Sure. So, for example, when a builder come to us, and we would ask them, says, right, Mr. Builder Zhang, and what are you building? It says, okay, 2 houses, right? For your 2 houses, and what's your target market? How much are you going to sell? Is it for high end? Is it for medium? Or is it for where is the location? So usually you tell us a location. For instance, if it's say Norman Park, then immediately we know in Norman Park or in say Camp Hill, and the house usually would be selling 3 million above. Then you want to have a middle and high end material.
Mhm.
So for that, we have an idea we can match you with that level of supplier. So then we would ask, Jean, do you have a house plan? Do you
Yeah.
have the DA? Do you have the list of the products? So when you have all of those things ready, and fantastic, we love to have the builder on the trip. Why? Because builder know what they are doing. They know the beautiful quantity, they know the specification, they know how that look like, and especially they know the price in Australia.
Mm.
And then, okay, we review your list of the item. And we would say, Rang, according to your product list, with the specification, with the photo, with the link, with the details, we will prepare a draft itinerary.
Okay.
The draft itinerary literally will have a matching supplier who, already cover 80 or 85% of the product you're looking for.
Mhm.
And then we have a meeting with you and we say, Jean, how does that sound? How that look like? We covered probably, usually it's about 5 nights, 5 days, China buying
So
trip.
you're not talking about the tours that you take your builders and developers on over in China?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So the process is someone can come to you, this is the design I've got, the spec sheet. You go and we'll jump into it a bit more in a bit, but you've got 2 main partners over in China, and they are?
I have a team in
Okay.
China. Okay. Oh, you mean the business partner?
Your business
Yes,
partners,
yes.
where
In
you,
the last 21 years, we only have 2 business partners. One is Alibaba, one is Canton Fair.
okay, cool. I want to just mention that so there's context to that, because you do have then teams on the ground that you're working with.
Yes.
So someone sends you design, spec sheet, and then you go away and you work with your team, and they go and find suppliers
We
through
find
those 2 partners.
we vet the supplier, we design a draft itinerary matching your product list.
Okay.
And then we discuss with you. Once you agreed with the itinerary, then we confirm everything. We lined up all the manufacturers, and for you to see, you can touch, see, and feel, and those products.
Mhm.
And some of the, like say, for instance, cabinetry or aluminum door and the window are big ticket saving item. Some of those, like say, 5-bedroom house, in Australia could cost you $67,000 for all the aluminum door and the window. In China could be only $20,000. So then, then we take you, some of the quote we can even get you before you go to China. So you're
Okay.
very well prepared.
Okay. And so then a builder or developer meets with you and the team, understands what they're going to go over and look at, who they're going to meet, and then they fly over with you and a whole group. And usually how many are in the group that you take over?
Well, they depends on the client project and
Okay.
the time of the year.
Right.
So for the builders, if their project ready, they can go anytime, any given Sunday, and start their China buying trip on a Monday.
Okay.
But if they want to not only just the buying, but also want to see Canton Fair, and they can join the VIP tour led by me. So I usually go to China on 22nd of April and come back 29th of April.
Okay.
So Canton Fair is one of the world's largest trade fair. It runs twice a year, and one is in October, one is in April. So this one, there are 3 phases in Canton Fair, and then phase 2 is designed for builders and the developers.
Okay. Wow. To my brain, I'm just trying to put I've never built, I've never developed, so as best I can put the hats on based on conversations I've had. A big concern is how do I know that if I put this on this is the line item, how do I know that that's actually what's going to be sourced for me? Let's say I go over there. What am I actually going to see, touch, and feel? Like, what is it? Paint a picture for someone who's
Perfect.
goes over there.
Sure. I can read your concern. I can read your little bit worried. So that's the reason generally we ask you to provide a specification, exact specification, what your architects give you or your interior design give you, right? And usually those are ready. And so when we had a look at that, we will matching the supplier who provided that same or like similar specification. As the builder, because you know, for instance, the tile, you know the size and you know like the material, you look at it, and then you go to China, you feel it, and you can see same exactly 900 meter by 900 meters tile in Australia, $57, and per piece in China, $17.
Yeah, wow.
And then also like say for instance shower head, right? Beautiful shower head in Australia in Bunnings, like $427. In China, you talk about $100. And so you can see, feel, touch the quality. And so therefore, and not only that, we can show you the factories inside. You go to, say, for instance, a cabinet maker's factory. You saw the production line, and it's huge. And then the most of the production line is automated. And once you put your CAD drawing in, and the machine and the AI start to manufacturing and just in front of your eye. And so therefore eliminate many of the mistakes you think people will make. That's number one. Number two, all those suppliers, they have been doing that, supply the world. For many construction industry, they have their own quality control system, and they have their own QA system to check it. So therefore, what we believe is what you see in front of your eye, and then can change your perception. And then you see the production process, you see their quality control system, and you see their finished product. And so therefore, you have that confidence, you can place the order.
Yeah, okay. There are a lot of items that go into a house.
Yes.
In 1 week,
Yes.
who do you find that your builders and developers are mostly meeting with? Because I imagine you can't meet a supplier for every single one of the products in the spec sheet. You'd need a lot more than a week. So who do you find predominantly they're going and meeting with? What are their biggest concerns?
Perfect. So generally to say, we look at the product list, okay? With the product list, then there is a quantity as well. So let's say, for instance, we need this window, we need this aluminum door, and then we generally mark the high value item. And so with the high value item, we take you to the factory, and you would see most of them. But then with for example, some of the small items, you don't have to go to see the factory. And then factory wouldn't take your order either. We take you to the wholesale market.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so there is wholesale market. Let's say, for instance, lighting. Lighting, you probably would only need one or two, for instance, that light.
Yeah.
And in Australia, could be like, say, $300 or $400. In China, could be like $30. And so we take you to the wholesale market, and then you can just buy from there. And the good thing is, because you go through with us, we will consolidate the whole container together. And say, for example, aluminum door, aluminum window, because it's a big ticket saving item, it's must buy. Right. Yeah. And then with the bathroom tub and, all the kitchen and the cabinet, that's a big item, like, saving item. And also like a tile, that's a big saving. Yeah. And also many other items, like, for instance, those facade, those curtain, those those big ticket saving item, buy those things. Yeah. And after that, and let's say, for instance, if you are one of the house you have is for your own house or for Airbnb, you want to buy furniture. Yeah, furniture is big ticket item saving. And so we put them, we will start to calculate the volume. And say, for instance, if a 40-foot container is going to be 68 cubic meter. After we saw your product list, we would differentiate. We ask you, John, have a check your item. We ask you to differentiate. One is we called must have. Another one is optional. So then we calculate roughly the volume. If when the volume of the products is more than, let's say, for instance, 40 cubic meter, then we would ask you to take a full container anyway. So because when shipping the products, there are two ways of shipping. One is what we call the full container loads. That's called FCL. Another one is LCL, which is less than container loads. So when you pay LCL, less than container loads, you pay the freight by cubic meter. Let's say $200 per cubic meter. But you pay full container, you pay as full container loads. When the volume is more than half of the volume of the container, we would recommend you buy the whole container.
Okay.
And so then you have extra space. Then we would say, Jean, you have extra 10 cubic meter space. Why don't you buy some insulation products? And it will fill up the space and it's still cheap, right? So each customer's requirement and recommendation are slightly different. If you are building full townhouses, then the volume is consisted differently. Yeah, you see the logic there?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So each of the project, we need to customize the logistics, the procurement requirement, and the suppliers are like, identification and different itinerary as well. It's all customized.
This might sound silly, Lindy, just where my head goes. How do I know that the supplier that I see over there and meet is actually going to be the supplier that ends up in my container?
Absolutely. That's the reason you choose us.
Okay.
So, when you go to China, and we will prepare you beforehand, right? That's why we ask our customer, builders, developers engage us early possible, right? And we will prepare you for the trip to China and with that supplier. So number one, the supplier you see, we have vetted. We used them many times before. We've been in the industry for 21 years. So with them, we already know so far there is no complaint or little complaint from our past builders, developers who use them. And look, we are not just having you as the customer. We have builders and developers going to China every single week. We have a container coming every single week. They will not just cheat for you for that little deposit and lose us, $200 million contract. No, they wouldn't do that. So we wouldn't suffer our reputation for that either. So we only take you to the supplier that has been vetted.
Got it.
So that's number one. Number two, when you look at the product and you see, Lindy, that's what I want, right? We take a photo and then there is specification. And then we put it on your purchase order, on your PI, pro forma invoice, and we send it to you for your approval. Unless you signed, we wouldn't pay the deposit. Until you signed, we pay the deposit. And then they finish the production. They will send the photos and the video for your approval. You check it, you read it, you confirmed it, we pay the balance. If you don't, we don't. So that's why we have a builder to jumping on board. And that's what the builder does with your tradie anyway. And that's what exactly you're doing with, all the supplier. And so therefore, we will coordinate the whole process. We will allocate one project manager in Australia who speak great English and one project officer in China managing your project.
And so, right. So if I'm going to do a project, then I get a consultant in your team that works just with me.
Correct.
I'm not just a number in a system somewhere.
No, you will have a specific group and we created for you. I will stay in the group. I will overview your project and you have two project manager. One project manager in Australia, one project manager in China.
I can just, again, putting the hat on of our listeners, and we have builders, trades, designers, developers who listen to our podcast, and all at different scales. Some might just be, let's say one of our builders is trying to flip a unit or flip a home. There's that sort of volume scale of a project, and we have guys that are doing, $50, $100 million developments. So where do you have a too small or too big? I'm trying to word the question, Lindy.
Who suits us? Who suits
Yes,
you in this
thank you for
China
that.
buying trip?
So who's too small, who's too big, or
Okay.
who suits?
There is no builder too small. Even with one house, you look at, with one house, you look at probably can saving over 150 to 200K.
Okay, walk me through that.
Yeah, sure. So, for example, as the builder, you quote your customer, says, all right, Jean, to build this house, it's going to cost you $1 million.
Okay.
So out of that $1 million, usually I would say it will be consist of 3 parts.
Okay.
The first part is your margin, builder's margin. Let's say it's 20%. That'd be 200K.
Yeah.
And then another one would be your labor cost. Let's say that'd be 40%. So that's 400K. And another part would be all the construction material. That would be, say, another 40%. That's 400,000. Simply by taking a one action, and then which is China buying trip, go with us. We can help you save over 40% of that 40%. So that's
sorry, coming in. So this is the China buying trip.
Yes.
This is the guys that are going over there.
Yes.
And they can get in touch with you and do that at any stage.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And so then you can probably save that $160,000. Add on your existing margin, 200K. So it's almost double your margin.
Mm-hmm.
For every single job, we can help you achieve a better results. So why not? And if you are building multiple projects, for example, townhouses, 4 townhouses, and or 6 townhouses, no brainer. It's just a double, triple again. And right now, currently, we are helping another builder developer doing 86 townhouses procurement.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, 50 apartment.
And this developer, have you done some work with him in the past? Or?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good to hear. Because again, I'm just being the skeptic here in the room,
Sure.
Lindy. Someone who's doing 86 townhouses cannot afford to have the wrong windows show up.
Absolutely. So they actually already flight to China with me last year in October.
Oh, okay.
And the developer flew their builder and their heads. And then 2 of them went China with me in Canton Fair. They saw the Canton Fair. They meet the big supplier. Of course, the supplier are slightly different than the normal supplier we would use because it's a large scale. Mm-hmm. And so far, we already got the quote for the aluminum window, aluminum door. It was amazing. The price is so competitive.
Wow. Okay.
And so not only that, the best part is as the smaller builder, you can tap into our group buying power. And, with that negotiation, power which you normally don't have, and the leverage our, group buying opportunity.
One thing I'm excited to talk to your audience about next week. So there's the event on the 12th of March up in Brisbane. We'll talk more about that event in a moment. But one thing I'm excited to mention to the group there is just because there's builders and developers who are going to be there. And I mean, there's already quite a few people coming to that event.
Yes.
How many so far?
So far, 145 people already registered.
Wow.
On the 12th of March event. And that event is actually, we call the Canton Fair information session. Okay. It's designed for builders and developers, and then to gain an insight about how Canton Fair look like. Not only that, and we also have a builder who been to China, been to Canton Fair with me in April last year. Yeah. And he will stand up and share his experience about Canton Fair, how that look like, what's his impression, and how he used the products in China. And we also have Matthew, who been to Canton Fair with us in October, and he will stand up and share his experience and his insight.
Wow. That'd be good.
And not only that, we have many prizes.
You did tell me it's a long list of prizes.
Yes.
Long list of prizes. The reason with that event, I'm keen to talk to the group about just what we believe, and I've discussed off camera, the power of marketing and really good, honest, transparent communication. So from the perspective of a builder, for a developer, up to them, optional whether they want to market the fact that they're sourcing direct from China and they might be pocketing the profits, or do they want to communicate a more competitive price for their product for the market? Maybe from a builder's perspective, there's opportunity to have a considerable advantage in your market. To say, hey, I'm doing the legwork for you. I'm going to go and source it direct from China so that you can have your dream home, essentially, rather than you having to cut this, cut that just to make it achievable. How often do you see or hear, or have you had builders who are working for their clients go over and take the client over?
That's a great question. We actually have a builder. His name is Ding.
Okay.
And he went to China with us last year first. Okay. And he was building for himself. Once he built it, and he also said, Lindy, I'm happy to build for others. So after he went the trip with us, he was so impressed. He come back so excited. And then he said, Lindy, actually, I have catered, included your China buying trip as part of my building package.
Wow.
So
Okay.
whoever, took me as their builder,
Yeah.
I give them a complimentary trip to China and go with you guys, select the material they wanted. And so last year, yes, he sent his designer and also his customer, one of the best designer in WA, went to China with us. And the designer was so happy because her trip was paid for.
Yeah.
We look after like a queen, and then she chose the product she wanted. And she is actually award-winning designer in WA, and she come back so excited. And so we did all the selection, and then now Ding just went to China third time with us. He is building another project. So definitely, as a part of the builders, your marketing strategy, promotional strategy could be including a trip to China and doing the selection. So many of those developers who find us first, and then we encourage them to take builder with them. But same thing with the builder, and you can in your quote package, including a free trip to China. They will love it.
Yeah, I'm sure. And it says enough. The fact that you can take a client to China says that there's enough profit in the job to afford to take them complimentary.
Because each of the job, like when you start buying from China, the savings, let's say $1 million, the savings is about like say 150 to 160K. And for a flight ticket, it's about 1,500 return ticket. And in China buying trip package, we cover 1 room 5 nights anyway. And you just need to pay your client the room. The room probably costs you $1,000, whatever, or two. And so for the extra 2 or 3, let's say you budget for $5,000 to take a client to China, but the savings is over 150K.
Oh, yeah.
And then the profit margin is there. It's no brainer.
Lindy, how do you address? So a lot of our guys work in the custom space, and we have a lot of builders we work with that would be in the high-end architectural bespoke space. And the challenge that they sometimes are sort of frustrated with is the client changing their mind during the build. I would imagine there's some limitation to that, just because there's some back end of things needing to be in line. But how do you approach that with a builder and their client or developer, and that when it comes to, I imagine there's a cutoff, being able to make the selections and choices. Talk me through that. How do you approach that?
High end is actually working the best in China.
Okay.
Yeah. So because for the high end product, the saving is maximized.
Right.
And giving you an example for one of the customer who imported the stair, and during the process, she asked, Lindy, how come I get a quote for the stair in Australia? It's $5,000. I get a quote in China. It's $5,000. It's the same, and there is no saving for me. Right. I had to look at it. I said, well, look, Miss Klein, your quote from Australia is a very standard low class and the low level type of stair, which is the basic one. The one you got a quote for in China is modern, with a glass balustrade and with the curve, and it became the feature of your house.
Wow.
And would you take that basic model as the feature of your house, or will this one more satisfy your needs? And then later on, her builder proved and confirmed, use the same, balustrade stair would cost like say 25,000 in Australia.
Yeah.
And then cost $5,000 in China. So that's number one. Number two, with the client changing the mind, how are you going to dealing with them in Australia? It's the same way how you're dealing with if you're using the Chinese construction material. And then the cost of variation is very huge. So we wouldn't recommend. And therefore, when you go to China and you still have the time to do the selection, before you sign the PI, you all have time to change your mind.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the benefit.
Yeah. One thing I've never built myself. And one question I often ask is to our builders is when the client's making their decisions and selections, surely you can communicate the incentive of, with the price rises that have happened over the last couple of years, make a decision, sign it off, and we can lock it in. But I think sometimes from what I gather, there's the issue of there are lots of choices to make. One challenge. And often the client struggles to comprehend, well, how do I know I'm going to like this tap? Because I can't even visualize how the bathroom's going to look. Yeah, I suppose, and that's probably why it makes sense to take the client on a complimentary trip to China to go, well, this is the tap. So it looks and feels. And I imagine there's, at Canton Fair, I'm sure, but when you go and see these suppliers, they have showrooms as well?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So
I'm not walking into a raw factory and...
No. The factory is a beautiful quality, not only that, and also have the display room.
Okay.
And so for the builders China buying trip, for them to make a decision on selection is quite different if you take your client with you.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. When you take a client with you, the client, you got to think from client perspective.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Totally.
more for the display and for the leisure. And for the builders, it's more for the factory and then go to see the quality and have that confidence.
Yeah.
So normally we would suggest that the builder go yourself first.
Okay.
Have a trip yourself, build something for yourself, have that confidence and walk you through. Once you have that confidence, then you say, all right, for my next build job, I'm going to include, China buying trip as part of the package and give my client a complimentary China like a buying trip together with you. Or you don't even have to go. The builder doesn't have to go. So like the builder in WA, he didn't go. He just sent the client with us. So he paid the money. We treated the client as, the client.
Yeah.
And then his actually client, the
So
designer.
he stayed, the client came.
Yeah.
And how did that look?
No problem. She loves it because then the customer, the Kate, also have some special needs. She wants to see a Chinese doctor. So we arranged the Chinese doctor for her,
Wow.
just out of the looking after her and courier like hospitality.
Yeah.
And she was so grateful. We helped her find a Chinese doctor, which cured her chronic disease. Yeah,
Wow.
she was so grateful. Yeah, she said like
your spread of service seems to be growing.
yeah. Because for us that's easy. We know the Chinese doctor, and she has a chronic disease, and she has been suffering for the last 30 years. And then when we find this Chinese doctor, she loved it, and then she went to China for the third trip to see the doctor.
Yeah, wow.
Yes, it's that powerful.
I know you have addressed this already somewhat throughout our conversation already, but going back to the skeptic having the belief that, okay, I know I can get these things over there and that, but my stuff is high end, not modular. It's not about cookie cutter, and I can get all these things in bulk and put it into all these townhouses. We're doing some high spec one-off homes or major renovations, and he's talking about people spending Aussie pricing $3-4 million up to $10 million on architectural homes and renovations. How does that, because now that's, some of that stuff is very specific. How do you guys address that?
Absolutely. So in that, usually what we call the high-end house, we will take you to the high-end manufacturer.
Okay.
And so they have the capacity to customize, let's say, for instance, the cabinetry. And they, let's say, for instance, all the tapware. But let's say, for instance, all the different parts are all matching. And I remember I took one of the interior designer on this particular trip. And I told her it's called the green room. And then after I taking her to see that, she said to me, Lindy, I hate my apartment. She was so impressed. And this actually, I captured that whole reaction and the conversation in my video. And if you're interested, I can show you that as well. That's number one. Number two, and some of those tapware I took her to see, she said, my God, this is with diamond. This is with like gold. And it's like a diamond on those taps. So it depends on how high-end you want it.
Yeah, wow.
Yes.
Okay, so that can be...
It can be gold, and especially, you know what? Chinese now are they are like what would you call it? They are pyramid of Chinese people are really rich. They have already domestic market have that type of demands for customization. So therefore, it's not just catered for overseas. Even for domestic demands, China have developed so well. And then they are large middle class above. Chinese people are very rich. They want, high classic decoration as well. Yeah,
it's interesting you say that because, again, the skeptic, who has never been exposed to that, only knows of their kids' cheap plastic toys that says made in China. That's their exposure to made in China, not the high end. Even though I'm sure when they go buy something high end from the shops here, it probably still comes from China.
Well, you look at Harvey Norman, look at those high-end products, and you look at the Meyer, you look at, David Jones, those are high-end, we classify the high-end like a retail shop, and you look at the made in China, made in China, made in China. And right now, just because of China direct sourcing, we enabled each individual boutique builder have access of those high-end China manufactured products. If it's not us, it's very difficult.
One thing as well, I've just observing the way you operate and the solutions that are provided over there in China, and with the speed at which information just moves nowadays. I would imagine it's quite easy for some of the partners that you work with over there to come across information on some super high-end boutique piece that comes from this town in Italy. And while some clients want to know that it's come from Italy, there are clients that want to know that it looks like that and it's the same quality. And I imagine there'd be someone over there in your team that can source that.
Absolutely. Yeah. We have actually one customer who has a beautiful, stunning house near Brisbane River. And so they want to furnish the whole house with Italian style furniture. And the quote they got was over $250K to furnish the whole house. So we did it for them, and the beautiful looking and the same design, same style, and purchased everything for them from China, and about $60K.
What?
Yes.
Wow, that's a big saving.
Yeah.
That's massive.
And, you talk about the 3-story, beautiful water featured house, and, have that style of like the furniture, have the couch, and yeah.
And when it comes to Australian standards, because again, like I mentioned to you off camera, for our builders to even, consider this sort of solution, their name's on their business. So they have to maintain a certain level of quality, warranty,
and,
all of that. The stuff that I understand, taps and stuff, but what about, I don't know, cladding and I don't know, outside stuff. I don't know, gutters, tiles, like to what extent
Okay.
can they source stuff, and to what extent can they source items through you overseas in China, and how do they know that it's to Australian spec?
Okay. Compliance.
Okay.
Okay. So what I hear, you talk about three things. One is compliance. One is quality assurance. Another one is warranty. Yeah. So first
I'm
one,
glad you can interpret my own questions
it's
because
okay.
I'm not even making sense. So.
I'm dealing with builders, developers all the time.
Yeah.
So, I can read. So first one was about quality assurance or compliance. So with the compliance, so they are Australian standards. Not every single product you need Australian standards, no. But certain you must. For example, for aluminium door and window, they must have ANZ, yada, yada. It's called Australian standards, right? Without that, and the certifier will not certify your windows and etc.
Totally.
You need to have a Form 15 to be signed to enable your past certification. So that's number one. Number two, for the bathroomware and also tapware, you need to have like watermark, code mark. So for us, when we select a supplier, we will vet the supplier with that Australian standards. And also, we will use the supplier who we have used before, and there is no issue with the past builders and developers. So that job has already been done for the compliance part. For the quality assurance, it's the same thing. We are when you receive the products, you find that there is an issue with the quality is far already too late. So we usually look at it 3 steps. So beforehand, we vet the supplier. We choose the supplier have the quality insurance. We take you to look at the sample. We have you checked on the PI, check the photo, and then we have you to see the production when they finished that. So all of those are part of what we call the quality assurance system.
Okay.
It's not one single point. It's woven in the whole process.
Okay.
Make it work. And then with the warranty, we ask every supplier who we work with to provide a warranty to our customer, to our builder. So therefore, it's the same thing. For example, how are you dealing with the warranty issue in Australia? Let's say, for instance, you buy that tile, you would buy a little bit extra. Yeah? Keeping that in another house. You probably buy 5% extra tile. You do the same in China.
Okay.
And
But it costs less.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, let's say, for instance, if worst thing come to worst, you need that urgently. And in the whole project, it saved you 150K. Let's say, for air freight, that particular item cost you $200, $300 extra. So be it. The extra cost compared to the saving, it's nothing. You have that we call the contingency budget if you purchase in Australia anyway. You do the same thing. You budget the contingency for your job in China.
Off camera, you shared a story with me, just identifying the importance of the supply chain, because you protect that supply chain. There's a lot of emphasis to make it run well, and that you can trust it, and everyone involved is trustworthy. You mentioned, was there a job? We had like 36 townhouses, and something happened. But does that ring any bells from? It's fascinating to hear that. Well, fascinating and really good to hear that there's you understand the warranty and compliance facets of the business, because that's going to give the builder and the developer confidence to then take this to their client. But we understand that in building, every builder I talk to will tell me that nothing goes to plan, or you can plan everything out, but there's always going to be something that doesn't go to plan. And so then it's about how do you manage that? That's probably the biggest thing that a lot of builders will tell me. It's like, and we help them communicate through marketing. It's like, yep, things will go mostly well because we've planned for it, but there's always something that comes up, and then it's about how do you manage that?
Okay, perfect. There are 2 stories I want to share. Okay. The first one is actually one particular customer. he is actually a Chinese. He find the supplier in China, and he want us to do all the importing for him. And then he need a permit. So we help him manage the permits. We help him to place the order, and we help them to ship it. So when we start arrange the shipping, he was, because he's a Chinese, he speak Chinese, and he look at the quote or like the freight we got. He asked how much it cost. We give him a number, right? So that's probably from third party. And he got a quote from another freight company from his friends. Says, oh, Lindy, this is $200 cheaper, and I want to use that. I said, well, yeah, but this freight company, we worked together for a long term, and for the past 5-10 years already, even though it's $200 more expensive, but it's faster. He said, it doesn't matter. I can wait for extra like 5 days and to save that $200 or $300. I said, that's fine. So anyhow, we went with his friend's shipping company, and 15 days later, still it's on the water. 30 days later, still on the water. And what happened was his friend put his container into a transit, went to Taiwan, and then waiting in the Taiwan's dock for all the other container put in the same shipment. And then later on, they delivered to Brisbane. So it actually took 37 days to arriving. Normally, it only takes 17 days. So I said, well, that's what I mean. For the extra $200, you put the direct transit and go, and you're waiting for another 20 days on the water. If it's construction project, you can't wait, right? No. So that's something, but that is already beyond what we can control. We give you recommendation. Yep. We give you suggestion, but we can't. You can take the horse to the water. You can't push the horse to drink the water. So that's case study 1. Another case study was, we have another client in Brisbane. She specifically asked the container must arriving 6th of March. Must. All right. So she went to China with us last year in September, and she emphasized that date like 10 times, 20 times. Okay. So today is 4th?
The 3rd?
3rd of March, right? So anyhow,
I'm keen to see where this goes.
Exactly.
Keep going.
So we look at it, we have that in our mind.
Yes.
So, in January, and then there is a big gap, which is Chinese New Year.
Yes.
So we have to plan so far ahead for her and tell her, says, Miss Client, if you want your products by then, the container must leave before February, okay? And the production must complete before the Chinese New Year start. And the Chinese New Year start from 30th of January, right? Then she said, what if my container arrived early? She doesn't want container arrive early either. She said, because that will cost the storage.
Right, okay.
And so we said, look, Miss Client, it's better let the container arrive early, because when it's arrived, the custom will have a random check. You may have some unforeseen scenario. So anyhow, the shipment, the production complete. Like, we told her, you must literally, there are so many orders to coordinate it, and the production completed, and, money was paid. We have to push her so many times. Anyhow, it was done, and the shipment left, and it just hit the dock and last Friday.
Okay.
And then customs said, we are going to have the inspection.
Yeah.
Right? So, and then today is Tuesday. Yesterday, customs said, right, we passed inspection. Now it can be released. So, right now, and the delivery will be arranged tomorrow.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so I'm actually will go to the dock and
Mhm.
then and we're going to video the whole docking
Yep.
and delivering to
Excellent.
her side. You will see the full story. So that's
I can't
something,
wait.
yeah. Sometimes customer the like requirement is so specific, we have to try everything we can,
Mhm.
and then they do not allow early delivery either. And
Mm.
we said, look, Miss Klein, we can't guarantee you exact date,
Mm.
but we can get as close as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It probably highlights an aspect I wanted to dive into with you. Paint a picture for, again, the skeptic, the first timer who might look into working with you. What's going on behind the scenes? I mean, I don't know what your fees are, anything like that, but I'm assuming you have to pay for your service.
Yes.
So what is it? Why can't I go directly? What is it that you and your team, you got a pretty significant team, what are they doing that behind the scenes that I'm not necessarily seeing that provides the value that you provide?
Absolutely. That's a fabulous question. You see, I truly believe let the professional do their job. You are the builder. What do you do the best day in, day out is managing the trading, right? Managing the whole project. And then, therefore, to make sure the project is delivered on time and with the quality. We are the same. We specialize in the whole importing process. We are your project manager and the procurement manager. So we vetted the supplier and then dealing with all logistics. And not only that, and also say dealing with the language issue, dealing with the payment issue, and then trust the supplier. All of those work are behind the scene. Just giving you an example, for instance, if you put the quote on your products, we call the HS code, goes through the custom, and it's the same product. If you use the different code, you easy attract the customer have the detention, and they will inspect your products. And with that can delay you 10 day, 20 day with no reason.
Mm.
And it can cost you
Oh,
like
huge,
extra,
huge.
storage fee, demerit fee. And those are all experience. We have a set of we call the HS code dictionary.
Mhm.
And this has been verified by Australian custom, Australian agent, and then with what product use what code.
Mm.
If you are not in the industry, how can you know that?
Oh, yeah.
And quite often you go to China, you find the products you like, you import it, and then it held in the Chinese custom or Australian custom.
Mm.
And also, go through the fumigation. And it's another thing. And then go through the payment. One of the customer paid the supplier and to the money. 3 months later, the supplier say, sorry, I didn't receive the money.
Mm.
And I will not issue the products. Because even the accounting system or bank system is different. In Australia, we have BSB and account number. And your BSB is a 6 number, right? Your account number could be vary from 6 to 10. In China, the account number is 26. And then where do you fit them? Exactly. And then all the character you can't read.
Yeah.
And all the like spelling or the pinyin is different because
Yeah.
when the pronunciation is different, it's totally different province. And later on, he couldn't identify his money. So as a single builder, you go to China, it's going to be extremely
You drown.
difficult. You are dealing with 20, 30 different supplier at the one time. Consolidation and also all the logistics and arranging the jumping from one A to B there. And it's 10 times difficult. The money you paid to us compared to that is peanuts.
Yeah.
And we actually have a customer, is a builder. He went with us. And at the same time, they met another builder, went along. They chatted. And they are so grateful they are leading by us.
Mm.
He shared that builder was so frustrated because he can go China by himself. He doesn't, you're dealing with the language, finding the taxi from A to B, check all the itinerary. You probably can only buy, big item. Then the rest you can't get it.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah. Wow.
And also, compared to your single builder, you don't have the negotiation power like we do.
Very true.
And
Totally.
you don't have that the vetted system like we do. And you don't have that influence like we do.
Yeah, it's. I didn't mention this to you, but I used to work a long time ago in freight forwarding,
Mm,
and it's like I would never want to try and do that by myself.
no,
You really do need an agent working on your behalf.
that's right.
Um,
And even when your product on water, like dealing with the Chinese custom clearance,
oh man,
dealing with Australian custom clearance,
there's
and
it's that, but it's. I mean, having some insight into the industry. When nobody calls, the person on the other end of that call doesn't care. You are nobody.
correct,
But when they come through, because of the scale at which you are doing what you do, the network, the connections, I call you, you have the power to make the call to the right person who can get me an answer straight away
correct.
and can push it through, can get it cleared, it's ridiculous that someone could think they're going to try and do it themselves and save a buck and have zero sleep.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct. You already have enough stress and pressure on your existing job. And, it's the same thing. Why you bothered to do a accounting job if you have accountant working for you? If why you bothered to be your own lawyer if you have a lawyer working for you? We are your procurement agent, right? Having engaged us, you pay a fee for service, and we look after from the factory to the site. And, not only that, when you're spending the money, we see as an investment, because when you're investing us, you get a 10 times return. We saved you 150 to 200K per single house, per single job. Why not? That's, you have a peace of mind, and you are doing, the similar other builders and developers in the past 20 years who have used us. And if you have a look at the YouTube, and there are so many testimonial customers
yeah.
review about us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just before I jump onto the event that's coming up next week on the 12th, I want to talk about the future.
Sure.
At the start of this conversation, you talked about why so many are now going direct to China, what China's able to manufacture, the quality, the level, the specificity, the customization. It's come a long way. There's been huge leaps in development, let alone technology, AI, all that these days. What do you foresee happening in relation to what China is offering, what you offer, and the Australian industry when you look forward over the next 5 years?
Put in this way, Australians' demand in construction industry is ever increasing due to growth, migration, and also, the domestic internal growth and the 2032 Olympic Games. So this all put a demand and on domestic supply for the housing. So this create massive opportunity for the builders, for the building industry.
Yep.
In the same time, China relationship with America has worsened. So therefore, China is not exporting as much as used to America. And also China domestic demand is not as high as it used to be. So therefore, Australian became a very popular compared to last 20 years.
Okay.
Not only that, but also China-Australia relationship are now the honeymoon. It's the best time ever. Compared to when, like say, Morrison as the, the number one of the country,
Yep.
and he speaks something really silly and worsened the relationship between China and Australia. But right now, we have the best relationship ever. So therefore, Chinese love Australian business. And then they have many policy to support the export to Australia as well. So
That's a good point you raised there. What does, with your experience over there in China, what does, say, domestic business policy look like there for exporters sending stuff to Australia?
Well, they actually encourage the export, and there are more and more manufacturers and come to Australia for visit. And it never used to be, but now, previously Australian order are very small, and it's not that get that much attention. But now Australian order get many attention. Not only that, because of us, we group buying, we group power, we unite like a single builders and together, and then to using that group buying power, we get much more attention. And that's the reason even we became the unique partner for Canton Fair. And then Canton Fair is huge, if you look at the Canton Fair.
For those who don't know Canton Fair, paint a picture of the scale of Canton Fair.
Okay, think about Indo-Pili Shopping Center, right? Canton Fair Exhibition Center have 13 Indo-Pili Shopping Center, that size.
Okay.
And if you walk along for one day, it's you couldn't walk through.
Yeah.
It is for, let's say, phase 2, you probably have, I would say, 20,000-30,000 exhibitor.
Yeah. I mean, some of the stories I've heard is just incredible. And Quane's been there, but he was there a long time ago, so no doubt it's grown since then.
Yeah.
But you can be there for a week from when it opens to when it closes every day, and you can't even see a fraction of it.
Correct. And that's why, with our guided Canton Fair tool makes sense. So literally we look at the product you are interested, and we design an itinerary. You are not only just seeing the fair, and you actually really get to see the factory as well. We have a balanced itinerary. Not only that, when you go to Canton Fair by yourself, okay, you have to go get the lanyard, and you wait for the queue for 2-3 hours to get your lanyard. When you go lead by us, your lanyard is delivered to your hotel.
That's nice.
Not only that, as a standard or basic, buyers, you go to the Canton Fair, you are nobody. You see the size, you're just one of those millions.
Okay.
When you go with us, you are the VIP.
So if I go and I say, hey, I'm with Lindy, then I get special care.
China Direct Sourcing.
Yeah.
You can go to the VIP lounge.
Okay.
And then you also, the Canton Fair load 200 renminbi into your lanyard. You can go to the restaurant or go have a coffee free of charge. And then, every half an hour, you can go to the VIP lounge. There is coffee, there is like a snack, and it's all for you at your fingertip. And not only that. And then there is a one matching. So they actually matching some of supplier for you to meet. And they have supply come to you.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
I'm very keen to join next year.
Yes.
This year I have a baby coming. So
October.
I think in April. So,
yes.
But you said that you're going over on the 22nd?
Yes.
Yeah. And our baby's coming on the 20th. So
you can go October with me.
October. Okay.
Yes.
I want to, before closing up, I want to talk about the event coming up on the 12th in Brisbane from 5:30 to 8:30.
Yes.
Took us through what is the event, who's it for, and who's going to be there.
Well, the 12th of March is what we call the Canton Fair information session. On that day, we are going to walk you through how that Canton Fair look like, and what you will get, and also give you heaps of the background. And also we have other participants like the builder and also the developer who've been to Canton Fair and share their insights, share what they see, how will that look like. So on the night, and literally it's they are going to, of course, the food, and there is pizza, there is sushi, there is a drinks and the soft drink and the beers, whatever. And it's going to be a good night, and also have a lot of prizes for people to win. And so far we have 145 people registered. Excellent. And there are more to come. They are builders and the developers, and then there are also other business owners as well. So for the builders community, I do see there is a great opportunity. One is get all the information you needed. Two is also meet the potential clients. And 3 is have an opportunity to talk with us directly about your project, to see whether that's Canton Fair is for you or not, or China Buying Trip is for you or not, and how we can actually add value to you. So to have yourself personally show up on 12th of March is already one step forward compared to many other builder. If you keep doing the same thing, you get the same results. Unless you take action doing something different, and you get something different results. So, and for Jean's community, and because of your generosity and kindness, we are quite happy to provide a complimentary ticket for the 12th of March event.
Thank you very, very much, Lindy.
Yeah.
I know I've spoken to, I want to say, almost everyone that I've mentioned to about this event on the 12th are keen to come. A lot of them are jumping on it. Either if they're not coming, it's because they can't make it. But for a lot of our guys, the community that we have, like I've mentioned to you again off camera, they're builders and they want to become developers, or they want to do some developments on the side. And so for them, it's a case of, oh, wow, this is, I've heard whispers of people sourcing stuff direct. Obviously, that makes a massive difference to the cost and the profitability of jobs like that. But definitely, if they can make that connection, and I'm trying to explain to them of why, even for client work, it's worthwhile. And I love the example you gave where, you got builders that take their clients over, that's now complimentary, and some that even send their client by themselves, because it helps that project get to site, makes that project actually viable for the builder and obviously for the client. So I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, I'm excited too. And one thing I do want to acknowledge you, Jean, and also Biz Video. You guys are doing a great stuff. And this is something, I see like through us can really empower your builder community, the access of to see what's possible, the access of, double their profit, the access of, empowering them and then to make the choice. They don't have to, but at least they can see what's possible. And with the China buying trip and saving the cost and increase the profit and helping them to work smarter, helping them to build smarter. And so in a way, and that's what I see as the kindness, Jean and the Biz Video team does. And it's a karma. It's not only just, you're doing the marketing for them. You're also creating the access for them to see, through the process, empower them.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear that you have observed that. That's really nice to hear, because that is a huge passion of ours. And that's why one of the reasons why I want to get you on to the podcast is we see the podcast as an opportunity for us to share the information and knowledge that we're often coming in contact with. And I speak to a lot of people, a lot of builders every day. But if I'm trying to transfer information on a one-to-one model, it's inefficient. And so getting people like you on here to share, what are you doing? What sort of solutions are you providing in this industry to our builders and our developers and our designers? Then awesome. Then I want you on here and share that. So Lindy, massive thank you for coming on, talking about what you and China Direct Sourcing are doing and the solutions that you're providing for builders, developers, designers in our industry. So thank you.
Thank you, Jean. Thank you for the opportunity to share with the builders community. I love to, help each and every one of you to grow and then double the profit. Thank you.
Fantastic. I'll have in the bio or information on this podcast, you'll be able to find links to the event coming up. But if somebody wanted to get in contact with you to talk more, ask questions, and China Direct Sourcing, what's the best format for them to go about doing that?
Well, yes, they can either through our website, or they can call our number or send us the email. It's chinadirect.sourcing.com.au, or they can contact me or contact Jean to get my details as well. And I'm quite happy to share my numbers with you. And so then in that way, I'm approachable. I'm real.
You certainly are. Lindy, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, John.